you. Getty.
Maureen, this White House is recognizing Juneteenth, which is Monday. And with that said, the issue of reparations continues to be something that is being parsed out on the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue. And with that said, the late John Conyers started with, a study. Now you have Congresswoman Bush not just asking for a study, but she's creating a resolution to push forward on reparations. What does this White House believe when it comes to this controversial issue of repairing a wrong for the descendants of Africans in this nation?
So look, as you mentioned, Juneteenth, there was a concert here yesterday, and we saw how powerful and how moved the president was by the concert and by kind of the story that was laid out through the concert about Juneteenth and how important that moment was. Opal, as you know, was here, and it's always moving to hear her and to see her. And as you know, the president signed Juneteenth to be the most recent holiday about 2 years ago. So I think that shows from that action. I'll give you more. I think that shows from that action how important the president thinks this moment is, how important he thinks that it is important to continue to lift up the African American community, and he'll continue to do so. As it relates to reparations, I saw just moments ago Cori Bush's resolution. We haven't reviewed the proposal yet. It's a new proposal, so we'll take a look at it. So I can't comment on that specifically. But the president has been really clear as it relates to reparation. He wants to see a study of reparations and studying the continuing impacts of slavery. He believes that is incredibly important.
So after the study, if the study concludes what many thought leaders and civil rights leaders have said, what next? Does the president support a payout? Because the nation is divided on this. This has been one of the biggest issues over the decades about how to repair the enslavement over generations of Africans brought to this country for free labor. So what does the president do after? What will he lean in on after a study, which is expected to basically say what many of the civil rights and black thought leaders have said? Does the president believe in a financial repair for the descendants of Africans in this nation?
So look, I will say this: we got to let the study move forward. We got to see what the study shows, and we got to continue to study the impact of slavery. That is something that the president believes that we need to do. So that's incredibly important. But I will say, April, and you know this, you've covered this since we've walked into this administration, when we think about the crises that we see in our country, the president called out how race inequality is a problem, right, is a crisis for us in this moment, which is why he is taking comprehensive action. When you think about what he did on the first couple of days that he walked in, signing an executive order to make sure at the federal level that we put equity at the center of this. And it is important that we continue to do this. How do we deal with the inequalities that we see in this country? And he's trying to do that on the federal level. So let's see what the study shows. It is important to continue to study the continuing impacts, if you will, on slavery. And I think because of the president's action, he's been very clear. He's been very clear how important it is, even just looking at his economic policy, how important it is to leave no one behind, have equity at the center of everything that he's done. If you look at every piece of historic piece of legislation that has passed, that he has signed, it has equity at the center of that. And that's because the president has that in mind, right, to make sure that we have equality, to make sure that we leave no one behind. I'll keep going.